Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is an Answering Questions episode. Even though Prehistoric Facts week did go pretty good, even though the final day didn't go as planned, but even though, hey, what can you do? It's things in life just come up. I mean, I understand that. So this will be an Answering Questions episode for tonight, and let's actually start into it, alright? Alright, this one comes from Rainey from Embarrassed, Wisconsin. Hi Chris, I was wondering if any of the dinosaurs have been proven to have had poisonous bites. If so, which ones? I hope this isn't a bad question. No, it isn't a bad question at all. This is a pretty good question. Since dinosaurs do actually have a distinct relationship with reptiles, meaning that they're related to reptiles, it wouldn't be surprising that some of them would actually be venomous, but since they're actually closely related to birds, there's not that many birds. There's not a lot of birds that are venomous. Venomous birds are very rare, and I think we hardly find any venomous birds that actually have like a poisonous bite or anything like that. So I don't think there's that much of poisonous birds. But since this is actually a pretty good question, but there is one dinosaur that was actually discovered in China, in 2005, if I remember correctly, called Tyrannosaurus. And it's actually a feathered dinosaur. It could fly, but mainly glide. And what they actually looked at was the skull, and one theory is there's this pocket on the part of the upper jaw that is a little spongy, and one theory is that it's actually that spot actually holds a venom gland, and you can see the teeth have grooves on them that they actually suggest kind of like a Gila monster, or kind of like a Gila monster. And what they theorize is that when this dinosaur bit down on the prey, the pressure of the bite would force the venom gland to squeeze the venom towards to the teeth and into the wound of the prey. Now, this wound would be kind of similar to probably say a cobra's, where it actually be very toxic and you can actually take down prey that is probably a bit larger than itself. And it's been known, and it's probably well known to actually take down prey that is as big or a tad bit bigger than itself. But also another theory is that it did not have venom, and this is probably just some weird feature on the dinosaur. But I mean, it could support a venom gland, but you see, we don't really see that on bones of reptiles, where you could see indentations of the bone where a venom gland would be held. But I mean, it's still in theory, it's still debatable. But I mean, hey, I think Tyrannosaurus will still continue to be as one of the few dinosaurs that actually has a venomous bite, and so that would actually be the only dinosaur that I can think of that could actually have that kind of feature that could actually create a poisonous bite. Alright, Kathy from Wausau, Wisconsin. What can you tell us about all of the juvenile T-Rex being shown now to have feathers? How did scientists come to this conclusion? Well, since this is actually a pretty good question, I think I can answer this one. Tyrannosaurus rex and most theropod dinosaurs are actually distinctly related to birds, and birds actually are direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs. And so and since there's fossil discoveries in China where they actually found smaller tyrannosaurs that actually had feathers on them, and the largest tyrannosaur known right now to be found that has feathers is U. tyrannus. And what this suggested is that probably juvenile tyrannosaurs actually had feathers, they pretty much had downy feathers, kind of like a baby chick or baby duck. I mean, that's what pretty much what came to that conclusion, is that since that theropod dinosaurs are actually related to birds, and they actually would have some of the same features of when hatchlings actually had the feathers. Now, I think the feathers would actually have been would actually just used for keeping warmth. That's pretty much what they're probably going to be used for. Because when you're that small, you can lose body heat, and you don't want to lose that heat. So, but even though since dinosaurs are considered warm-blooded, they probably did produce their own heat. But even though they probably need a little extra help when they're smaller. So I would say that when the T-Rex actually gets older, it probably might start losing some of the feathers, because it actually doesn't need that many feathers to actually keep it warm. And also, pretty much, I think, because if you get a male juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex, you would actually see that the baby would actually, as it gets older and see the juvenile start losing some feathers, you actually start to see some colors forming on some of the feathers. Now, these feathers could actually be on the head, neck area. They could be at the tail. It could be at the arms and some parts of the back. And that's pretty much, I think, where the feathers would actually be on a Tyrannosaur. And so, with a female, the females would actually have a duller color, so they probably wouldn't look as advertising as the males did. So the males would actually be more brightly colored, whereas the females would be dull color, because the males need to display their feathers to actually attract the females. That's what their main use for when these Tyrannosaurs actually got to adult stage. And I think pretty much that evidence is pretty much suggesting that most large theropod dinosaurs, most large carnivorous dinosaurs, did have feathers, and probably had feathers when they were adults. But it's going to be rare. It's going to be rare to find some in North America. It's because we don't really have the kinds of rocks that could actually show the indentation of feathers to actually show if some dinosaurs did actually have feathers or not. But there is evidence that actually suggested that some did. But I'd say that Tyrannosaurs did have feathers, and I think the juveniles would have been covered in downy feathers. I mean, because they would actually have I think they would have pretty interesting colors too. We would actually be looking at a Tyrannosaur that could actually be probably blue and red colors, or otherwise maybe a black and white, or orange and yellow, something like that, But we still don't know. So I think there's still a lot more to learn, and I think we can actually move on to keep on finding more discoveries, to actually find more specimens, to actually see what kind of dinosaurs actually did have the feathers to support it. And this question actually came from that is written on my whiteboard, even though this person did not write down their name or where they're from. But I mean, I'll answer this one anyway. And this question is, what is your favorite dinosaur and why? Well, I get this question a lot, and I'll tell you this: it's the beasts of beasts, and my all-time favorite dinosaur is this guy, Tyrannosaurus Rex. And you see, the reasons why is that it's big, it's nasty, and also it's the most popular dinosaur of all time. But even though I actually like Tyrannosaurus Rex, it's because more than that. I mean, I think it's a spectacular dinosaur. I think it actually would have behaved like a overgrown hyena, crocodile, and probably a falcon in one. And so I think that's pretty much a good analogy of what Tyrannosaurus Rex would have been compared to hyenas, crocodiles, and probably a falcon. And so, but also but you see, Tyrannosaurus Rex. I mean, if I can get the skull down here. And this is a model of a skull of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And one of the good reasons why I like Tyrannosaurus Rex is a big skull, and it's approximately 5 feet long, could be longer. And what is interesting about this is that you actually see expansion here in the back, which actually shows attachments of large muscles to to actually give it a very powerful bite. And Tyrannosaurus Rex would have had the most powerful bite force out of any terrestrial animal ever to exist on Earth. And so it would actually have a bite force of probably between 6,000 to probably 12,000 pounds per square inch. And that is a very strong bite. We will never know what the approximate, we would never know how hard it could bite. Is because you see, not a lot of predators usually don't actually bite as hard as what their prey is actually. Because if you look at like lions, when they actually attack warthogs, they don't produce a lot of bite force. It's because you see they need to make a quicker kill, and also they don't need to damage some of the goods that are actually in the neck area or anything like that. So they need to make a softer bite. But when you actually look at probably when it's hunting Cape buffalo, it needs to bite really hard in order to actually crush the windpipe, and that's pretty much what it did. But Tyrannosaurus Rex would not behave this way. It would actually attack a prey animal like Triceratops. It would actually come in, take a big bite out of the back, or otherwise in the neck area, or otherwise right in the legs, and actually pretty much cause a fatal wound to that Triceratops, and it could crush bones. It could actually bite through some of the hardest bones of any dinosaur, like the vertebrae or the hips. And there is fossil evidence to prove that. There's a sacrum, part of the hip bones of a Triceratops, was actually found with over 60 bite marks, and that is amazing, because you see it's what we see out of the teeth of Tyrannosaurus Rex. If I could get one of my teeth out of here, if I can find the right one. And we actually get something like this. And you see, this is a tooth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and these teeth are so peculiar, but to see they're unlike any other kind of dinosaur's tooth. Most predatory dinosaurs actually have very blade-like teeth, very knife-like teeth, very thin teeth, and they have serrations on both front and the back, and they're actually designed for slicing through meat, not to penetrate the bone that much. But when you actually look at Tyrannosaurus Rex's teeth and other tyrannosaurs, their teeth are thick. They're very thick, and they actually do have serrations on the front and in the back, right over here, if I can get it up here, right in the back. And you see, this is a tooth that is designed for penetrating, hanging on, and making a very powerful bite. And also, when you look at the tooth of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, you actually see that it has a very deep root, which suggests that Tyrannosaurus Rex's jaws are very deep, and they can actually holds the tooth long enough to actually penetrate through bone. And that is the main thing that it really wants to do. It makes a powerful bite to kill the animal, and it would actually have a very nasty eating habit. So it would actually be one of the messiest jobs of eating a carcass. So it would actually eat a carcass very violently, and so that would actually make it really, really very interesting to see. And I think I don't really want to watch it eating a carcass that much. But another way is when we actually kind of CAT scan the skull or the brain case of Tyrannosaurus Rex, we can actually find the brain, what the indentations of the brain, what the brain might have looked like. And what we see in the reconstructed model of Tyrannosaurus Rex's brain is that it has a very large olfactory lobes, which suggests it has a very powerful sense of smell. And Tyrannosaurus Rex has the largest olfactory bulb out of any animal existed on Earth, and that suggests it has a very powerful sense of smell. It can smell anything in its path. It could smell live prey, it could smell rotting carcasses, you name it. It could smell pretty much anything that actually has meat. And also, when we actually look at like the optic lobes, the part of the brain associated with sense of sight, is that it's also very large. But also, when we look at the skull, we can actually see that since there's expansion in the back, that also brings the eye sockets forward. Now, when you actually look at the skull from the side, you actually kind of make a mistake. Some people make the mistake of actually thinking that this part here is the eye. That's it. It's not. The eye is right here. And so what we see here is that the eyes are facing forward, that the eye sockets are facing forward and the eyes are facing forward. That means that Tyrannosaurus Rex has clear forward-facing vision, binocular vision, and that is a feature known for predators. And if it was, and there's a huge, I'll get to the long debate in a second, but and that is usually a predatory trait for having binocular vision. We have forward-facing vision. We're kind of predators. We kill animals, but I mean that's kind of our nature. But also, wolves have forward-facing vision. Cats have forward-facing vision. I mean, and some eagles and hawks and falcons actually have forward-facing vision also. So that's the reason why they get the forward-facing vision. And also, the hearing of Tyrannosaurus Rex, it would actually be on the back of the, be like approximately like right here. Even though you think that like this part right here would actually be part of the ear, it kind of is, but like right back here is where the ears would actually be. And looking at the inner ear, the part of the brain associated with balance and also hearing, the cochlea, the part of the inner ear that is actually associated with hearing, is an inch long, suggesting that it has good sense of hearing. And so Tyrannosaurus Rex has a good sense of hearing, and it can hear low frequency sounds, which is basically the sounds that its prey would actually make. And also with the brain of Tyrannosaurus Rex has expanded cerebrum associated with strategy and thinking, and so it actually has an expanded cerebrum. It's probably not as going to be as smart as us, and it's probably not as smart as some of the like more smarter mammals that we actually have today, but I think probably the good comparison of how intelligent it could be as smart as probably like house cats or dogs. I mean, even though it might be over the top, but even though I think that's pretty much how it probably actually had its brain would have actually, how its intelligence would have been compared. But also speed-wise, Tyrannosaurus Rex would have been fast enough to catch us. It would have been fast enough to catch us. It would actually be fast enough to actually catch us. It would actually be fast enough to possibly catch a bus that is on like a city street. Tyrannosaurus Rex's approximate speed as an adult would actually be between 15 to 25 miles per hour, and that's pretty fast. That's kind of pretty fast for a large predatory dinosaur. And the debate with T-Rex being a predator or scavenger has always been coming about, and Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you see the debate has been going on for years, and you see one paleontologist believes that Tyrannosaurus Rex was more scavenger than predator because it has a very large olfactory lobes, basically have a good sense of smell, and he believes that Tyrannosaurus Rex has small eyes, small optic lobe, suggesting it doesn't have good sense of sight. And also he believes that with its massive weight, it could not actually run, and also it probably, with its tiny arms, it could not grab anything, and so he believes that Tyrannosaurus Rex was actually more of a scavenger than a predator. But I believe with most paleontologists, and what this evidence actually suggests, is that it's a predator, and meaning it actually hunts. And basically it's that it has a good sense of sight, good sense of hearing, good sense of smell, in also because if you're going to have forward-facing eyes, you don't need to be a scavenger. And also, the teeth of Tyrannosaurus Rex are curved backwards. And when you have teeth that are curved backwards, you're basically grabbing and hanging on to your prey that is trying to get away. And you see, once you actually have teeth that curve backwards, the only way that the prey is actually going to try to get out is basically going further in the mouth. And so that's actually not a good way to get out. And when we actually And also, I would say that, and also since that there's evidence to actually support that that Tyrannosaurus rex and other large theropod dinosaurs, carnivorous dinosaurs, actually lived and hunted in family groups. And so, because there's a fossil bed in Montana, and also there's the Sioux Quarry, which is in South Dakota, and the Sioux Quarry actually contains 4 Tyrannosaurus rex specimens combined. Now, Sioux is the most complete out of all of them, and Sioux is the most complete and largest Tyrannosaurus rex we've found so far. But the others are actually a subadult and 2 juveniles, and so it actually suggested that it did live in groups and probably hunted in groups, because when you're actually living in a group, you can successfully hunt better, and also you can actually communicate a lot better, and also you can actually protect the young a lot better. So, but since I'm taking a little too much time to actually tell you why I like Tyrannosaurus rex, but I have loads of information on Tyrannosaurus rex. Tyrannosaurus rex is my favorite dinosaur. End of story. That's how it is. And that's it for now. And now next week will be a special episode, so I will post the links up for you on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris, and you can tell me which dinosaur or which prehistoric mammal you want me to talk about for the special episode. And then after that, I'll take 2 weeks off for Christmas for Christmas weekend, and also New Year's Day, and also New Year's weekend. So hopefully, in that way, everybody can actually have a good Christmas and a good Happy New Year, and it would actually be a lot better for all of us. And so, but also you can actually go on my Facebook fan page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris, like it, and then you can actually write your questions, and also you can tell me what kind of prehistoric animal you want me to talk about for the special episodes. But also you can still send me emails, email me your questions, DinoChris71@gmail.com, and also you can still post the questions on the Facebook fan page too. You can also follow me on Twitter @CSGrawl, and follow me, and I can post some pretty cool stuff on there too. But anyway, make sure to take care of the people around you, and also for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have to actually have a good education. It's very important to have a good education, and you can get a good job in the future. And I got finals coming up, so I'm pretty confident I can actually pass those. So that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.